You want to become a content creator and you don't know where to start. In this video, you will learn about the best content creation platforms for blogs, podcasts, and web videos. In each case, there's a recommendation as to which is most suitable for the beginning. Let's go. Welcome to another one of those weird black screen videos. At some point we will go into the studio, but we are not quite there yet. Speaking of which, where were we? Quick recap. Step 1 was about deciding on an engine. That is, deciding on a single medium, text, audio or video, that you want to focus on when you start doing content creation. So by now you should already know if you want to start with a blog, with a podcast, or with web videos. As a reminder, decide on one medium only and put all your focus on that. At least for now. After you've decided on an engine, you still need a station. That is a platform from which you can publish your blog articles, podcast episodes, or web videos. Let's start with the easiest one. When it comes to web videos, there doesn't seem to be a serious alternative to YouTube. Launched in 2005, YouTube is now the second most visited website in the world, right after Google. But this popularity also makes YouTube a tough place for beginners. There is more competition here than anywhere else. If your focus is on gaming, you might rather want to consider the live streaming video service Twitch. If you want to establish yourself as a social media influencer, Instagram and TikTok might be better platforms to start on. And as soon as it comes to offering educational videos behind paywalls, there is a whole range of other platforms to consider. Yet, with the goals of building an audience, gaining influence and generating income, YouTube is the best video platform for most content creators to start on. Especially because of the vibrant community there, which provides a lot of feedback via comments. The disadvantage of great competition can easily be seen as an opportunity for your learning curve. On YouTube, you are encouraged to constantly hone your skills, to make better and better videos and to learn from experience. Now, YouTube both stores the video files and makes them available for an audience. For podcasts, these two areas are usually handled separately. When we are looking for the best podcast platform, it's about a place to store our podcast episodes and from there deliver them to other platforms, rather directories where your audience can listen to the podcast, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or again, YouTube. 3 of the most popular and largest podcast platforms are Podbean, Buzzsprout, and Anchor. In terms of functionality, these 3 platforms are quite similar. You can find a detailed comparison linked below the video. Podbean and Buzzsprout primarily emphasize how easy it is to host podcasts there. Anchor, on the other hand, has quickly made a name for itself as a free service. Founded in 2015, Anchor was purchased by Spotify in 2019. There are cautious voices that tend to advise against such free podcast hosts, for understandable reason. The way Anchor works is that they offer unlimited free hosting, and they hope to make their revenue from ad sharing. As Spotify has bought them, there is a chance this model will succeed for them. Unfortunately, in the past, many free podcast hostings have failed and shut down their services. Therefore, I advise caution when relying too much on free podcast hosting. Still, I think the time might has come for such a service as Anchor. Their compelling argument is, with modern cloud services and the low cost of file storage today, hosting fees are an outdated and unnecessary burden on podcasters. For almost every single podcast that Anchor hosts online, it costs us less than 10 cents a month. That's nothing close to the hosting fees required by most other platforms. The way we see it, it's pretty simple. You wouldn't spend money to post a video online, so why should you spend money to upload your podcast? Just like in the production of web videos, you will invest a lot of time in the production of podcasts and money in the necessary technology. So, especially for beginners, it's worth a lot to save some money on hosting and distributing your content. That's why Anchor seems to be the best podcast platform to start on, but probably not to stay on. This statement is based on the reviews of other more experienced podcasters than me. See, for example, Matthew Bodrow's review via the podcast host and that of Talminia via Discover Pods. I am still trying out Anchor and can't make a relevant judgment yet. No matter which blog platform you choose, your competition will be huge. Because the most important playground for all blogs is and remains Google search. There, a massive amount of blogs compete against each other for the few spots on the first page of Google. Page 2 is known to be the best place to hide a dead body. According to Neil Patel, there is one blog for every 7 people in the world. So yeah, you're not exactly walking on the moon. But the same goes for podcasts and videos, so take it easy. Therefore, when choosing your blog platform, you should make sure that it gives you the means to participate in this playground at all. That is, that you can use certain SEO tools, for example. At least if you choose text as your engine and you want to do content creation with a focus on blogging. Similar to the distinction between hosting and directories for podcasts, we distinguish between hosting and content management systems, CMS, for blogging. But unlike with podcasts, Anchor, and with videos, YouTube, with blogs, our first choice doesn't start with hosting, but with the content management system. And frankly, it doesn't have to be a difficult choice. Certainly, there is a thriving website creation market out there with many good options that emphasize design and simplicity, like Squarespace and Wix, for example. But when it comes to blogging, there is one top dog completely beyond competition in the battle of the best content creation platform, and that is WordPress. Every reason against WordPress is an advantage at second glance. And comparisons where WordPress performs extremely bad are already at first glance quite nonsensical. See this comparison between WordPress and the CMS Ghost, in which quite a few fixed costs are claimed for WordPress which are not fixed at all. WordPress is a bit more difficult to learn, maybe, but there's a lot of really good tutorials, far more than about any other CMS. There are whole websites dedicated to explaining WordPress just because it's so popular. WordPress is more insecure? Probably for the same reason as Windows. WordPress is, of course, sometimes the target of hacking attempts because of its widespread use. But there is a huge community that offers very good tips and tools on website security as well. Now, it seems to be of secondary importance which CMS we use anyway, so why get into long discussions about it? After all, with content creation, the content comes first, right? Yeah, kind of. But in the practice of regular blogging, the choice of platform is important to ensure a productive, undisturbed workflow. And as far as that is concerned, I can say with the confidence of several years of experience that WordPress is the best platform to start on and to stay on, no doubt. As I said, the CMS is only one, albeit more important part of the equation when it comes to your blogging platform. The other part is the hosting. But unlike with the web videos, or to call a spade, with YouTube videos, it's much easier to switch hosting services with a WordPress project. Therefore, the hosting decision really isn't that essential. I myself now mainly use Raidboxes as a hosting service, but I would never recommend it to beginners because honestly it's a bit expensive. I enjoy the great user interface and support, but in the beginning I had other priorities, to be precise, one other priority, and that was money. Back then I started with Tumblr, one of many free blog platforms for which you don't need a CMS at all, and no hosting either. But this channel is not about such hobby projects, that's why I won't go into detail about completely free solutions in this case. If you are serious about blogging as a content creator, then one thing should be clear to you right away: you should spend a little bit of money on it. Compared to the effort for podcasts and videos, it's really little. And one of our goals, besides building an audience and gaining influence, is to generate an income that should at least make up for these costs, otherwise we have missed the mark. With hosting fees of a few dollars or euros or yen per month, you will save yourself a lot of hustle and effort and get off to a better start with your blog project. Probably all the same can be said about a podcast project, but I guess I have to learn that lesson myself. However, recommending a good hosting service also depends on where you live. In a country like Germany, which is fond of data protection rules, there are quite different recommendations than in the wild west of the USA, which seems rather insecure from a German perspective. Anyway, in the English-speaking world, I would follow the recommendations of WordPress experts like Income School and WP Beginners and probably end up with BlueHost. As I said, I think this choice is less significant. Switching hosters is no big deal. With the CMS, you spend much more time, build a more intense relationship, so it's much harder to break up with it. Yes, I love WordPress. Up to this point, you know the three essential mediums: text, audio, and video, and some content creation platforms to start on. At best, you now have chosen one medium and thus one of the platforms. If you want to put your focus on videos in the beginning, YouTube is the best platform for you. If you have decided on podcasts, Anchor is probably a good place to start. And if you want to start a blog, you are well served with WordPress, depending on the country you live in, for example in combination with BlueHost. Now, if you want to set up on the platform of your choice, certain questions will come up, such as a niche or niche for your content and a name for your online project. We will work out how to define a niche and how to find a proper name together in the next steps. So far, thanks for watching. Hey, fun fact. In the course of this very video, I became a father for the second time. When I started recording this video, I was the father of one lovely child, and by the end of this video, I have 2 kids. I'm sure you noticed where the crucial cut is between which an exciting night took place. Anyway, I will now take a break for a few weeks, but when I return, this little side project will be going places. If you want to be part of it, then subscribe to this still brand new channel. I'm looking forward. See you soon.